Hi, Eric here from CalendarBudget. We often get the question, I've gone ahead and connected my bank account. I see my transactions coming in on the Reconciling tab, but why aren't they automatically added to my calendar? Do I have to add these manually one at a time? The answer to that is you can add them all at once, which you can do with these plus symbols. So you can click this plus symbol at the top. That will add all of the transactions at once. Or you can click the plus symbol beside each day and add all the transactions for that day. However, in many cases, that's actually not what you want to do. And the reason for that is because with CalendarBudget, we allow you to plan your transactions into the future, which means you'll need to reconcile what happened with your bank with your future plan. In this example, today is the 14th of November. I have some transactions coming in from the past week, from the 5th through to the 12th. But you'll see in this very simple example, I have a planned transaction for Costco every Monday into the future. So if I were to go through this reconciling exercise, I would have a look at these transactions on the 5th and say, oh, these are not part of my plan. I'll go ahead and add these automatically. So I'm clicking that plus button to have them added. Again, on the 6th, there's a transaction that I'll add. But then there's a bit of a difficulty here. I have on my sidebar, it shows November 11th, but there's no transactions. It's just showing here. That means that I had a planned transaction on my calendar that didn't happen in reality. And then we can see the following day that that planned transaction happened. It's for a slightly different amount and it's on the wrong day. Now, if I were to just add these transactions, which I'll go ahead and do, now we run into a situation where the transactions from my bank are added, but my planned original transaction is still there on my calendar, and that's throwing my balance off on my calendar. What you want to do instead is you want to merge these or reconcile them. So I'm going to delete these transactions that we just added, and instead, what I would do is I see that this transaction for Costco happened on not the day that I planned, it happened the next day. So I'm going to click and drag this transaction onto my planned transaction. That's going to update the transaction to the correct date and the correct amount. You can see that moved over to the 12th. Now that transaction on the 11th is no longer there on my calendar and it's no longer here in my sidebar. There is one extra transaction at Costco. It looks like I shopped there twice that day. So I'll just go ahead and add that last bit. And now we're all caught up to date. As you're reconciling in real life, you'll have a more complicated future plan. And often you'll find yourself reconciling these transactions by merging them with the transaction that you had planned. On mobile, it's the same idea. We have the reconciling icon at the center top with the red 5. So we'll go ahead and tap on that. Now we see the same situation here with those 5 unreconciled transactions. And we could add all of them at once by clicking the plus icon beside bank transactions. But let's do the same thing we did before. We'll add all the transactions on November 5th by clicking the plus sign beside November 5th. And the same thing on the 6th. Now this transaction for Costco, we don't want to just add that, we want to merge it or reconcile it. So we're going to select it at the top and then select the matching transaction on our calendar at the bottom and then click the check mark at the top right to merge those. That's going to update that transaction to the correct amount and date, leaving only that last Costco transaction, which we'll just add by clicking the plus sign beside it. And once that is added, we are all reconciled.